Right. Now in functions here, like in the first case scenario, we have sorry, declared a function with no parameters right now. And here we have declared a function with a parameter. Right now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to declare a function called, let's say, now every time I have to calculate the total of two numbers, let's say, and then therefore I have to repeat this task regularly. Therefore, rather writing the code every time whenever I want it, now I'm going to write a function because whenever I want to do that calculation, I have to just call that function. And then for that function, I want to pass some values as well because those values I need to add it. Then I can declare the function with an argument. Therefore, I'm going to define. Now we have to start with the keyword define. Let's say get total. Get total is my function name. And here I'm going to pass the two numbers, x and y. Right. And then here no brackets used. Therefore, I'm going to have, I'm going to display the total is, or else I'm going to say x, comma, y, comma, right. I'm going to do like this. Now, we'll see. Yeah, if I want to call this, I have to call by the function name. And then if you just call it like this, now it will give you an error saying, you saying get total missing two required arguments, x and y, because here we have declared two arguments, then it requires two values to be passed. And now let's see. Now it's going to give you 10 plus 20 is equals 30. Now, whenever you want to run this function, you have to just call the function bar with the parameters. Right now, here this is what you call as a parameter. Here you call this as argument. Because now, at the time of you invoke the function, you need to pass the arguments if the parameters are declared. Now, this is but here, in order to run this function get total, it is required to pass two values. Then it requires two values to be passed. Then here, if you want to invoke this function get total, you need to pass these two values. Therefore, this one at the method invoking, right now, if you are passing a value, then that value you call as an argument. Now here at the method declaration or function declaration, the variables you declared you call as parameters. Now here the function declared it two parameters, therefore you have to pass two parameters. If you just pass only one, again you will get an error saying get total missing one required positional argument for y. Therefore, it requires two arguments to be passed. Right. Now, by any chance, if you pass three arguments, now what will happen? Now you pass three arguments. Now it says now get total takes two positional arguments, but three were given. Again error. Because it takes only two arguments, but three values were given. Therefore, you need to pass only two arguments. Right. Now, this is how you pass the values to a function. Therefore, we can pass information to the functions whenever we want to do. Right, you can pass any number of arguments if the parameters are declared. And then each argument is separated by comma. Right. Therefore, again, remember this is inside the function declaration. This is a variable, right? Now this is a variable, right? Therefore, this is a variable, x and y are the variables declared inside the function. Therefore, this is what you call as the parameters, right? Parameter. Right now, parameter means variable declared inside the brackets of the function definition. Okay, you can say the variable declared inside the brackets of the function definition is you call as a parameter. Parameter is a variable or variables declared inside the brackets of the function definition. Right, then here argument is what? Argument is a value or values passed to the function when it is called. Arguments are the values passed to the function when it is called. Right, therefore remember these are the different parameter and the argument. Parameter and the argument. Parameters and arguments. Right, now I think that is clear. Right. And it is a must if you have declared two parameters in the function, you must pass two arguments. You can't pass more than that or you can't pass less than that. Here we have passed less than that, then you get missing one required positional arguments, or we have passed more than that, then it says it takes only two positional arguments but three were given. Likewise, you will get an error. Right. Right now, also you can declare functions. Now you can declare functions with the default values. Right now, if you want, you can declare function with the default value. If you are declaring a function with the default value, let's say you can say x equals 1 and y equals 2, likewise you can declare. Right. Now, if you pass the values, then it will take the values you have passed. And if you do not pass the values, let's say if I do not pass the values, now you can see if I pass two values, arguments, then x and y would be 10 and 20. But if I pass no values here, no arguments passed, but the function requires parameters, that means arguments were required, then here the default values that I have assigned for the x and y will be taken. And if I, since it has declared two parameters, but if I pass only one argument, then x value would get 5, the first value I have passed, and y would be the default value. It would get the default value. Therefore, here you can see I have assigned the default value for the variable. Okay, try out that as well. Right, and then that is what you call as the default values for the arguments. Right now, here if I pass x equals 50, comma y equals 60. Then you can see here also you can you can pass the value by the parameter. If you know the parameter name, then you can pass the value by the parameter name. Now let's see whether is there any order as well. X equals 50. Now you can see there is no order now. Previously, based on the order you have passed, the first parameter takes the first argument. Likewise, it works. But now, if you are passing the value by the, if you passing a value by the right now, let's say we have f name and l name. Then I'm gonna display the name like your name, full name is f name, comma l name. Right now, if you pass here John Smith. Now I have passed John Smith. Now you can see it says full name as John Smith. And if you pass Smith John, if you pass Smith John, then the name again will display full name as Smith John because the order is different. But if you pass with the parameters, right now, if you say f name is equal Smith, or now f name, l name equals Smith, and f name equals John, you can see here the first name, I have used the parameter name f name, therefore this value get assigned to this parameter. Therefore, now you can pass uh, parameter name. That means you can refer the values based on the parameter name. Arguments pass with the parameter name. Okay, try that as well. Right now, if you want to return a value from a function, if you want to return a value from the function, let's say now when you pass the full name and the last name, you want to return the name. Right now, you want to return return f name plus cell name. Right. Now if you call the function, now you can see nothing would printed because this is returning a value. If you want, you can have a variable called name, and then you can print the name, or inside the print function you can call it. Because now here, let's have some space. Right now, here what going to happen is here it's going to get the first name and last name, and it's going to return as a one string. Then it's going to get the name as this one string. Right now, this is how you can return a value. Function can return a value. Right now, what I want you to do is I want you to write a function called calculator. Right? I want you to write a function called calculator, which should accept two numbers, let's say, for the time being, x and y, and then you need to perform the plus minus division, okay, plus minus multiplication, division, and the modulus and the floor division. Right, you need to calculate those and then display the total is this, subtraction is this, like this, and then return a list, containing the answers, containing the results, of results. That means, for an example, if you have passed 2 and 3, if you pass 2 and 3, the 2 and 6, the list should contain right now 2 plus 6 is 8, 2 minus 6 is minus 4, and 2 into 8 is 16. 2 divided by 8 is what? 2 divided by 6. 2 divided by 6 would be what? Okay, whatever 0 point, whatever the number. And thereafter, what is this? Modulus. 2 modulus 6 is what? Right, likewise, the answers, calculate and tell me the answers like this, answers respectively should be written as a list. It should print and return as a list. Okay, quickly do it. You have to define a function, define calculator x and y, and let's say we have to have a list. Okay, how to add values to a list? How to add values to a list? Now, you should remember now. You could use the append method, right? Then you can say lt dot append what? X plus y. X plus y, x minus y, multiplied by y, x divided by y, modulus y, division y. And right, and then this returns a list. Right now, okay, this will return the list. Now you will get the values. Right now, what I want to do is, right now, I want to write another function called, print list help in info something. And then when you call the calculator here, we have to call another function by passing this list. And then in that function, I want you to print the list values. Displaying addition is this, or like list the print the list value. Right? How can you do that? You have to call that function inside the calculator function, and then that is a print info something, print answers or something. And let's say we have to have another list also, lt1 and lt2 also. List 2 contains the values like addition, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, whatever else. Okay, now what I have to do is you need to return, find out a way, LT and LT1, LT1. Right, now find out the way to pass these two lists, LT and LT1. How to pass these two lists to another list. Let's say, um, create a tuple, define another one called merge. Create another function called merge list, which accept two lists, right? L1 and L2, L1 and L2, and then L1 and L2. Right now, inside this function, I want to create a tuple. That means I want you to create a list of tuples. Create a list of tuples. Right now, for an example, first value should have plus separator. This is for an example 5. List of tuples like this. So then here you have something like this. Let's say minus 3. Something like this. I want you to create a list of tuples like this and then return. Right now here you have created a list function called merge list, which accept two lists, and then based on the indexes, it's gonna take the values and it's gonna create a tuple, and then finally you're gonna add into another list, and then that list you're gonna return. Right now then outside we will see how to print it. Okay, try out quickly how to do this. Is this clear what I asked you to do? finish and send me the answers. Now this is what you should get. In this format, I want you to give me the answers. Right. Okay, I'll give you a few minutes for you to finish it up, and then I want to get the answer in this format. Right. Okay, then see the answer. How to do this one. Right now you can see it here. From the first function, we create a list and we return the list. Here comes the list, LT2, and another one called a merge list function we call by passing LT1 and LT2 here, and then that will return another list that is called LT3, and then we print LT3 using print a function. Right now, this is how we do this activity. Right. I hope I received one answer. That means I hope the others also has finished it. Right now, we have discussed so far how to define a function, with no parameters, with parameter, and then how to pass the values as arguments. That means how to pass keyword. That means how to pass with the keyword arguments. And then right thereafter, let's say here if you want to pass, let's say now if you want to declare a function with right, okay, let me clear this. All right. Okay, right now here I'm gonna declare a parameter called that means I don't know that number of arguments that user might pass. I don't know the number of arguments user might pass. Therefore, for this parameter, I'm gonna put asterisk in front of it, and then I'm gonna hold. I'm gonna pass these values. Let's say I'm gonna pass these values to the function print a. Right now here user don't know, user has no clue that how many values that I will be passing into this function. Therefore, this time I'm gonna pass some numbers 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 10, and only one function. Hello. Now you can see in the first scenario, I have passed these values. Second case, I have passed only up to right now. Every time after doing this, we have right now. Then we can have space. Right now, you can see here. Here I have passed different number of arguments and in different times. Then here, each time based on the number of arguments we have passed, it prints. Therefore, we could declare if we don't know that how many number of arguments user might pass, then we could try like this. Right now, uh, right now the functions, when you call about the functions, there you can call recursive functions. That also we should discuss. A recursive function means a function call itself again and again until it reaches the whatever the base condition or the initial condition. Right. Therefore, now you may have heard it and we may have done it already. Calculating the factorial value. Therefore, factorial value can be calculated. Now, factorial 4 is calculated by 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. Likewise, you can calculate the factorial value. Right, now let's see how to calculate the factorial using the function. Now I'm going to have a function called factorial, and I'm going to pass a value as well. Right now, what I'm going to do is if the factorial, if x equals 0, if x equals 0, I'm gonna return 1, else I'm gonna call the function, I'm gonna return whatever the x multiplied by factorial. I'm going to call the function itself by reducing x value by 1. And then print, let's say x answer is equals factorial 5. Let's say we'll ask user to enter the, we'll have input, okay, x equals print input. I'm going to find the factorial. Thereafter, we're going to call the factorial function. Then we're going to print factorial and use entered value factorial. X is this is how you calculate the factorial. Now what happens here? Now for an example, if you pass 5 here, what is happening? Right now when you pass 5 here, right now you pass 5 here. Right. Then what is happening? When you pass 5 here, it calls the factorial function by passing 5. Okay. Then when you pass 5 here, x is not equals to 0, then it goes to else, then it will return 5 and it's going to multiply it by, and it's going to call the factorial function by calling factorial 4. Now it will stop the current thread, and again it will call the function by passing factorial 4. Again now x equals 4 now. Then again x is not equals 0, therefore it will return 4, and it will call the factorial function by passing factorial minus 1, 3. Then it's going to stop this call again. It's going to start a new call, factorial 3. Again, it's going to return 3, and it's going to call the value factorial 2. When you call factorial 2 again, x is not equals to 0, therefore it's going to go to the else. Then it's going to return 2 and call the factorial 1. Once it call the factorial 1, again factorial 1. And even if you said here, even if you want, like you can do it like this, factorial 1, because then it won't go beyond that term. And when you call the factorial 1, when x is equals to 1, it will return 1. Therefore, now when you call the factorial 1, this would return 1. Then it get multiplied 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. We have to multiply. Then bottom to top approach, it will get multiplied 1 into 2, 2 into 3, 6, 6 into 4 is 24, 24 into 5 is 120. That value is returned. Now this will return 120. Therefore, now the value is printed like factorial 5 is 120. This is how it get printed. Right. Okay, now the next question is very quick. Write a function which inputs a number and prints the multiplication table of that number. Right now, whatever the number you have to call, and then based on the number, it will print the multiplication table of that particular number. You quickly do that. And then write a recursive function at 1 to 10 to 1 numbers. Write a recursive functions to add 10 to 1 numbers. Okay, these are the two questions I want you to do. Quickly do it and send me the answers. Now let's do this. Write a recursive functions to add 10 numbers. Right now, how can you do this? So let's say add numbers. Add num. Right now, the total is total is right now we're gonna call the function at number by passing 10. Right now, okay. What we're gonna do if x is equals to 1, return 1, else return x plus and number x minus 1. Right, 1 to 10 numbers, it should be 55 now. Let's see. That's how you're gonna get the answer. Right. That is about functions we discussed. Right, then let's talk about the classes and objects. Right, and here in order to declare a class in function, we have to use in Python, we have to use the keyword class. Right now, here Python supports for object-oriented languages, right? And then almost everything in Python works as an object, along with the properties and methods. In a class, we could declare the variables and methods, but each class can have. Using a class, you could create an object. Therefore, in simple terms, in basic object-oriented programming, you say class is a template or a blueprint of an object. In a class, we declare what object can have. Right now, if you want to create a class, now let's create a class. A class could be created sorry, using class keyword. Let's say class student. And then you can have the variables, whatever you want. Let's say name. Let's say gender, ID, ID 2001. Let's say. Now this is how you create a class. Inside a class, you can have variables as well as the methods as well. Inside a class, you can have uh, variables and methods as well. Right now, here if you want to create an object from the class, now let's say stu equals student, stu equals student. This is how you create a class and then object from the class, and then here you could print student name. You can call by the object name stu dot name. Student id you can call by. Right now, like this, you could create a class and you can define a class, and then from the class you could create objects. Right. Now that is how you create a class and how to define a class and how to create objects. Right. Therefore, now you can say here in this class we have declared the variables. Therefore, we call as the properties. Right. And then create based on the class we have created an object. Therefore, the object. Now this is how you create an object. Now this is how you declare a class, and this is how you create an object. Now objects has now using the object we could access class members. Right. Right. A class can have data members as well as member functions. Therefore, you can have, say class can have variables and methods, so variables and functions. Right. Right, then these attributes, these variables can be accessed using the dot operator. Now you can say stu.name, stu.id. Likewise, you could access the variables, whatever the variables declared inside the class. Then you can call these as data members. Those are the properties of a class. Right now, then every object, when you create an object, now remember, now you have some idea about a class, no? Then class is a user defined. Class is a user defined, a blueprint or a template where we can use objects to create objects. Therefore, class provides that means functions as well as variables. Therefore, in order to create a new class, you have to use a class keyword, and then based on the class, you could create objects. Now, every class instance, that means every object you create from a class, have attributes attached to it for maintaining its values. Therefore, right now for an example, now if you have a class, now that is a user created class, no? Therefore, that holds variables and that means functions. Now here we have only created a class with variables. Now we can have a function as well. Define, say hello. We will print student says hello. And then if you want, you can call that stu dot say hello. What does it says? Takes 0% arguments, but one knows zero. Okay. Now, right now there's a problem. Here's like even in order to call the function. Now, what is happening here? Right now, it says student.sayHello takes 0 positional arguments, but one was given. Right now, therefore, here it says it does not take any arguments, but one was given. Right now, in the function we declared there. Now, here in order to execute, it doesn't work. Right. Now, what to do? Right. Therefore, here we need to say self. Right. Then we could say we could work out. Right. Therefore, now what is a self variable or the self parameter here? This is self parameter we will discuss in a little while. Right. Beforehand, we'll talk about the objects. Right now, I was talking that the class declared with the class keyword. Class can have, we can declare the class with variables and the methods. Class contains variables and methods. Therefore, using a class, we could create objects. Then objects are created using a class. And then when you create an object has states. That means object can hold the values for these variables. Objects can hold the values for these variables, and then you could use these methods to change the state. Therefore, object is an instance of a class. Therefore, class is a blueprint or a template, right? And then using a class, we could create objects. Right. Then you could create multiple objects from the class. You could create multiple objects from the class. Then every object has three things. Object has a name. Object has a name. Object has object know. Object know the values. Object know data. Object know name, and then you can say values. Object know object has some data, and object has some behavior, some methods. Right. Therefore, now you could call it as a name. You can call it as object has an identity, and object has some state for the variables, and object has some behavior. That means what each function can do. Therefore, every object has a name. Every object has a values for the variables declared in the class. Every object can execute the functions. Right now, here I have just used the function. I have created an object called stu. Then using the stu, I have hard-coded some values for the name and ID, and I'm displaying these. Therefore, every object has, now remember, every object has its identity. Therefore, now here this object identity is stu. Therefore, identity is the unique name. Identity means the unique name to identify the object. Identity is the unique name to identify the object. The state means the values of the attributes or the properties or the variables. Values of the variables. And behavior means the methods of the or the activities what you could do of the class methods. Behavior means the methods. Now, for an example, here in this class, object stu, object name is stu. What the states are name and ID. The behavior is say hello. Right now, for an example, if you take a clock, if you take a clock class, then clock object has a name. Clock object has a name, and clock object know the time. Clock object can set alarm, right, guys? Then these are the objects. It could each object of the clock what it could do. Clock object no each clock object has a name, unique name. Clock object knows the current time, and clock object can set alarm. Likewise, now every object consists of these three things: state, behavior, and identity. State, behavior, and identity. For an example, if it is a, let's say, if it is a animal, if it is a, let's say, dog, then identity is dog. Identity is dog. The behavior, what are the behaviors? If it is the dog type or the dog breed, and we can have dog age and the color, and likewise you can have whether it is male or female. Likewise, you can have the information and what it could do. Dog can bark, dog can run, dog can sleep, dog can eat. Likewise, you could do many things with the whatever the activities dog could do. Right. In this example, the student What is the here? What is the identity? Now here the identity I have created as STU. The unique name is STU. And what is the state? We know the name and we know the ID of a student. And what is the behavior of the student? The student can say hello. Student can say hello. Student can say hello. Right now, this is how when you create an object and how the objects are working. Therefore, this is the difference between object and a class. Right now, for an example, let's take another example. Okay, let's say class dog. We have dog breed, and we have dog breed and dog age and dog color. Right now, we're gonna declare some values for the dog. Right. And let's say I'm gonna just assign some values for the dog and then Labrador, age 2 years, the color yellow, right? Bark, the dog is barking. Ooh. Right now, let's say this is the one. Right now, if you want to create a D1 equals, then you have the dog. And okay, let's say Tommy. Bella equals dog and Benji is equals dog. Right. Then if you want, right now Bella and Benji are the objects created from the class dog. Right now, here if you want to print what Bella could do, you could print Bella, that means Bella dot read, you could print Bella dot age, you could print Bella dot color. Likewise, you could print. Right now, for an example, you can have Bella dot read, Bella dot read, and Bella dot age, and Bella dot color, and we can call Bella dot bar. Right, likewise, you could print. And then if you use the Benji also will do the same. Why is that? Because now here we have hard coded. Right now here I have another attribute called Benji. No? Let's print. Now Benji also will do the same. Right now it would say lab and then same values. Because why? I have hard coded the values in the class variable. That means I have the values, default values declared in the class. Right now, then here when you want to call this function, I have to pass a variable called self. What is this self variable? Now for self parameter means when you call a method, right, in a class, therefore, now then here in Python, we'll convert that into a, here now refer to an object. Now that's why here it says, now take 0 positional arguments, but 1 was given. Right, when you do not have this, now it says right now, dog.bark in the class dog.bark method, dog class bark method. Right now it declares 0 arguments. Now we have not declared 0 arguments, but 1 was given. Because automatically, right, when you call a object.function, automatically converted by Python into, right now for an example here, when you call this, right now when you call this, now we'll say benji.bark when you call. Now what happens is, now it can automatically, when you call only benji.bark now, but The Python interpreter will treat this as dog class dot bark method, and then it's gonna pass the attribute as a whatever the object name I have created, Benji. Right. Then, since this code would be seeing in the backend by the Python like this. Therefore, now here we are getting an error. We are calling like this. But actually in Python, this is how it's going to call. Therefore, we are passing a one value. Then that value here not declared to accept. Therefore, here we get a type. Here you don't have to have self variable. You can have x. It doesn't matter. Now, if you have just x, this would work. You just need to declare variable. Now, normally, in order to make it much clear, we call it as self because this self variable, the self object passed here. Therefore, self object passed here. That's why here we call it as a self. You could use any name. It does not need to be the word self. You can have anything. Right. And then at the time you create the function, that means when you create a class, and when you create an object of the class, you need to initiate or initialize the object. Therefore, every Python class has a function called init functions. Right then, there is a built-in function called init function. Right, and then every time when you create an object from the class, this init function get executed. This init function get executed. Now, we can use the init functions to assign the values to the object properties or whatever the other operations you want to do. Right, now let's try to declare the init function inside the class. Right, now here we can have define, and two underscores init. Let's say we go with self, and let's say we want user to pass the name value. Okay, breed, age, and the color. Then we would say self.breed equals self.breed equals whatever the value we got. Self.breed equals breed. Self.age is equals age. Self.color is equals color. Likewise, you can have, and then also if you want, you can print for your reference init executed. Right. Right now, you can see now when you try to run this, now it says here we are creating an object now, but we are not passing the values because now we have created the constructor with some parameters. Therefore, we have to pass these values. Therefore, we have to pass these values. What are the values we have to pass? Let's say Bella, we can say Labrador, and the age is 3 years, and the color is yellow. Right. And let's say Benji is Bull Mastiff, Bully, okay, Bully, let's say, and 1 year, and that is brown. Likewise, I'm going to have the values. Right. Now you can see if I have created two objects, therefore 2 times init executed display. Why? This function got executed 2 times now. And then for each time, right now, these variables now, the dog class has variables declared breed, age, color. And for these breed, age, colors, we have the different values. Right now, inner C difference, we'll have some space. Then you can see here lab3 yellow woo. Likewise, now it will display. Right now, again, here, if you want to print, when you call the method back, if you want, you can say self. If you just say the breed, breed says, likewise, if you use it now, you'll get an error. Then breed is not found. And then if you say self.breed, now you will see lab says woohoo, bully says likewise. Then this is how you can access the variables available inside the class. Right. And then if you just print Bella, and if you print Benji, what's gonna happen? Right now you can see if you print the object, now it will display like this, a dog object at some values, dog object at some values. Because that is because of there is an inbuilt function called string, or in other programming languages, now this is what we call as the constructor. And then there's a method called toString. Therefore, the string function controls the way it should return. Once you print an object, how the string representation of an object is returned by the string function. Therefore, if you want to declare the string function, you could declare that as well. Right now, I'm going to take a copy of this, and then you can say str, a string function, and then you have to just well, then I can say return. If I won't have something return, let's say the dog object. If you just say return dog object, now you can say any print of the dog object Bella and Benji, that would display saying dog object, dog object. Right now, if you want to return, whatever the dog object plus, you want to say self dot breed, then you can have dog object Labrador and dog object bully. Likewise, you can have, you can display, you can configure what you want to return, what you want to print using the string function. You can format the way, or you can define the string representation of an object using the str function. Right now, here, now you can, if you want, you can change the values of the object as well. Right now, if you want to change these, what you want, let's say, okay, now this one we have passed bully, and then I just want to change it, let's say. Then if I want to change it, the value into this bull mastiff, let's say. Now after doing this, then I can say Benji is the object name dot Benji dot breed is equals to bull mastiff. Now here you can see the value get changed. Now here initially we passed the value as bully, and now that value get changed to bull mastiff. Right now this is how you change the values. You can change the values. And let's say I want to change age as well. age is equals to 2, you could do. Right. Okay, try these ones quickly. And then if you want, you could delete the objects as well. After printing this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete Benji dot breed. I'm delete Benji dot breed, and then I'm going to print the Benji dot breed. Now you can see after deleting the Benji dot breed, now the attribute has been deleted. Therefore, you get an error. This is how you delete the attribute. If you want to delete the entire object, you could say delete Benji, and then now you can say the name Benji is not defined. Now this is how you delete the object, and this is how you delete an attribute or a variable. Right. This is how you delete an attribute. This is how you delete the object. Okay, quickly try out. Okay, okay. Mm, right now, let's create. Okay, create a Python program, a class representing bank, a class representing a bank, and the attribute should be what are the attributes? Account bank, right? There should be methods for. All right, now let's say represent a bank. Attributes are owner, that means account holder, name of the account, owner, uh, account number, balance. And the methods are balance, print account details. Okay, print details, deposit, and then withdraw. Right now, okay, these are the. I want you to create a class representing a bank, representing an account, bank account. Right now, the attribute should be account holder, name, account number, balance, and the methods are uh, print details would display account details with the balance, and the deposit would that means to increase the whatever the balance available in the bank, and the withdraw you have to reduce. Right. Then I'll give you a few minutes. Quickly write the class called bank account, and then have these methods, and then create some objects and then perform the operations and assign it to me. Quickly do it. But what do you want to do? Let's say class account. And then let's say we have account owner and account ID and the balance. Right. Then self.owner equals owner self.account ID equals account ID self balance equals balance. And then we can say new account created. New account created, and we can have the values. We can, if you want, you can display new account created with the balance, new ID, the ID. Right, new account created. And then we can have the string function also if you want, account details, account, and then we have to have account ID is new ID. Right, now that's what you want to display in this string. And then here I want to have a function called print details, print printed details. Here it's gonna display account holder, self dot owner, account ID, self dot AID, self dot balance. Right. Right, and then I want to have another method as well. Define withdraw amount is required, self and amount. Self dot balance is equal, self dot balance minus equals. We can have if the balance is if self dot balance is greater than or equals to the amount, then only we would facilitate this you can say print let's say amount withdraw successful, successful, can say successfully withdrawn, right? And then we need to have self dot balance minus equals amount. Self dot balance equals self dot balance minus amount, and then else we have to say not enough, not sufficient funds, insufficient funds. Right, then we can have, right, and then we can have that was returned done deposit. Define deposit. Then when you say successfully deposit, deposit done, deposited. I don't know whether we call deposited. Right, deposit successful. Right, and then we need self dot balance plus equal amount. Right, and then here let's say we have to have the get balance method also. We have get balance method. And again, we're gonna print account ID self dot AID. Balance available. Self dot balance. Right, and then we'll call this function every time get balance. Right, and then let's create an account class. Okay, now okay, quickly complete the rest and send it to me. You can create account AC1 equals new account. Now you need to pass the owner Jane Doe. AID is 1001 101. Let's say as a string A100101 as a string. Let's pass, and the balance available is 5,000. Right now, let's try to figure it out the rest quickly. right? Now we can create a new account created, and if you want, you can AC1 dot. You can call the print details method, and thereafter, if you want, you can call the get balance method, AC1 dot get balance method, and thereafter you can withdraw, you can deposit, let's say AC1 dot deposit, withdraw 1,500 likewise. Right, then it says account holder Jane Doe, new account created at the beginning. It says account holder Jane Doe. Account holder Jane Doe. Okay, these values are printed. Okay, and then get balance method would display the balance and then deposit successful, and then the balance available. Deposit successful. Deposit successful. We'll have the amount. Then 10,000 deposit successful, and then successfully withdrawn amount. Let's say the amount. Right, then it would display the values after. Right, then successfully withdrawn 7,500. Likewise, then this would display the values. Right. This is how you try out this. Right. Okay. Any questions up to now? Quickly ask, and then we have to start with the inheritance and then the polymorphism, those things. All right. Any questions up to now? Please ask because I'm not going to start with the rest. Any questions you can ask now. Okay, send me the answer which you have done already.